I want to share with you my non-negotiable WordPress plugins, the ones that I always install on pretty much every site that I'm looking to build. This is going to be a little bit of a more laid back video. I'm going to turn on some chill background music, probably not going to do a lot of cuts. You're going to see my raw footage, mistakes and all. And yeah, let's just go ahead and talk about plugins that I just love using. Alright, so I want to talk about WordPress plugins that I absolutely love and that I pretty much install on all of the sites that I'm looking to build. And in order to come up with realistic examples, I think it's just best if we take a look at my blog. It's not a site that I'm particularly using a lot right now, but it does have a lot of the plugins that I want to talk to you guys about installed. So this is my blog. It's fully powered by Thrive Suite. That's probably the first plugin that I want to talk to you guys about. Now, Thrive Suite isn't just one individual plugin. It is a list of a bunch of different plugins that we build. Of course, it comes with my WordPress theme, which is Thrive Theme Builder, which you combine with what we call a companion theme. In this case, I think that my blog is running quick. Could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's quick. And as you can see, I have a bunch of different plugins here by us that I have installed. Thrive Apprentice. I'm looking to maybe perhaps create a little bit of a membership site, and that is what's going to power such membership site in the future. Thrive Apprentice, got Thrive Comments, Ovation, Optimize Leads, Quiz Builder, Ultimatum, and of course, all of my pages are designed with Thrive Architect, which is my page builder of choice. It's the one that I use to build pretty much anything that you can think of. I've got tutorials here on our Thrive Themes YouTube channel where I replicate sites like the New York Times, like Abercrombie and Fitch, like Tesla.com, Apple.com, all of those. You can see me build from scratch using Thrive Architect, which just goes to show how powerful of a page builder it is. And how about we just go down through my list of installed plugins and my list of, my left-hand toolbar here. And let's start with Google Sitekit. So Sitekit is a plugin which is 100% free. It's built by Google, and they've created this plugin to make it super easy for you guys to connect your WordPress site with pretty much every Google service that you can think of. So it is 100% a non-negotiable plugin that I install on pretty much every site that I'm building, because it's what, it is what allows me to connect my WordPress site to Google Analytics, to Google Tag Manager. It allows me to quickly run page speed reports, and it makes my life a whole lot easier. I don't have to be, grabbing my Tag Manager code and sticking it into the header of my site or doing anything like that. Like, I can just install Sitekit, have it connect to my Google account, and it just does everything for me. Makes my life super easy, saves me a lot of time, so it's one that I'm almost always installing. No, I'm always 100% installing that one. Fathom Analytics is one that I absolutely love. This isn't necessarily it is a plugin, but it's more of like a service that I almost always use on all of my sites. And it is the equivalent of a very sexy, minimalistic version of Google Analytics. So if you are someone that wants to keep traffic, wants to keep data on, how many people are visiting your site and what pages are they visiting, and if you want to create conversion events and things like that, Google Analytics will 100% do the job, right? But it's kind of, I don't like the way Google Analytics looks, and I don't like the way Google Analytics works. It's just, I don't know. If Google just doesn't put a whole lot of time into design, right? They just build a bunch of functionality and they pour that onto our desks, and they essentially tell us, go figure it out. Not the best user experience. Fathom Analytics looks a whole lot better, and you can kind of see how it just serves me all of the information that I need in an easier way, right? I've got data for my blog right here for the last 30 days. You can kind of see how I had 46 people land on my site. They looked at 65 different pages. The average time on site was 2 minutes. And you can kind of just see how it's just a much better looking version of Google Analytics. You can kind of see what the referrers were, how people landed on my site, whether they came in through Google or Twitter or anything else, and what pages they actually landed on. It gives you all of the information that you need in a much better looking way than Google Analytics. So it's one that I almost always install. Maybe that one not. I mean, Fathom Analytics is going to cost you a little bit of money, depending on how many sites you want to put it on. So that one in particular might not be one that I install on all of my sites, but if it's a site that I'm thinking about maintaining over the long run, then it's usually on there as well. Affiliate WP is the best affiliate plugin that you can use to run affiliate programs on WordPress, okay? It doesn't really matter what kind of products you're looking to sell. If you want to have affiliates promote those products, you can just set up Affiliate WP on your WordPress environment and it's going to do the job just fine. And you can do a whole lot of different things, right? I mean, you can run contests, you can create leaderboards, you can create dashboards to let your affiliates log in. I actually did a video not too long ago where I showed you how you could replicate an Alex Hormozi type of affiliate program on your WordPress website using Affiliate WP. I might just link it here in the top left corner or maybe in the description box. And you can kind of see how there are so many different add-ons that you can install with Affiliate WP that, it's just one that I don't necessarily install this one on all of my sites. It depends on whether I'm looking to run an affiliate program or not. But if I am, then it's definitely on there. OptinMonster, I have it in here just because I wanted to test and compare some of the functionalities that it offers compared to that of Thrive Leads. I don't usually have OptinMonster installed on any of my sites because I just happen to use Thrive Leads. I mean, the cool thing about Thrive Suite is that it comes with pretty much every marketing tool that you may need on your site installed by de facto, right? I mean, you get Thrive Leads to create pop-ups, exit intent pop-ups. You can use it to, just essentially build up your email list. So, and Thrive Quiz Builder, you can use it to segment your traffic. So a lot of the things that OptinMonster has to offer, we take care of them through, either Thrive Leads or Thrive Quiz Builder. So yeah, it's still good. I mean, I still like it, but definitely just usually just rock and roll with Thrive Suite. PushEngage is one that I'm starting to use a lot more. So this one is, and some of you guys may not like the premise behind it, but you essentially use it to send out push notifications every single time you have to announce something to your audience, okay? So you may have come across a lot of blogs that essentially prompt you to allow browser notifications. Most of the times you guys are probably just hitting the decline button because you may just land on the New York Times or the Washington Post or the Wall Street Journal, and you probably don't want the New York Times blasting you out push notifications every single time they publish a new post. But for small niche blogs, whether that's mine or whether you're subscribed to another essentially person that you like following their content, for push notifications may actually be of your interest. So I'm starting to play a little bit more with PushEngage. Again, it's not one that I have up on all of my sites, but it's one that I'm thinking about installing on all of my sites in the near future, because it's just an easier way of reaching even more people, right? I mean, if I publish a new piece of content, yes, I'm probably still going to email my list about it, but if I can have a browser notification show up on those people's screens, then that's just free eyeballs for me. Let's go back to my list of plugins that I always install. All-in-one SEO. So this is a no-brainer. If you're looking to build a site on WordPress, chances are you want that site to rank on search engines. So all-in-one SEO is just, it connects with ChatGPT, which allows me to just have it write my meta descriptions for me. It creates my sitemaps. It allows me to, again, create meta descriptions. It does pretty much anything that you can think of that you may want to do when it comes to SEO. It just does it really well. So it's up on all of my sites, that one's for sure. WP Consent, I am currently in Europe, and this is one that actually just came out this year, if I'm not mistaken. And it's just a very easy way for me to handle GDPR requests. I can just have the cookie banner show up really easily, really quickly. It saves and stores information about users so that banner doesn't actually show up every single time someone lands on my site if they've already allowed cookies to be stored. So it's one that I'm installing on all of my sites. It works really well. I actually did a video not too long ago about it as well, if you want to check that out. I encourage you to do so. If you're in Europe or if you get traffic from Europe, you definitely want to be taking care of GDPR requests, because you don't want to get in trouble. So it's not something that I love doing, I gotta tell you, but it is something that I have to do, unfortunately. Microsoft Clarity. So I cannot believe that this tool is actually free, and it's been free for many years now, and it is still one that it is one that I always install on all of my sites, because the amount of data that I collect from Microsoft Clarity is unbelievable. So I've spoken about this before on our channel, but with Microsoft Clarity, I essentially get to see how people are behaving on my site, right? Not only do I get heat maps, but I actually screen record user behavior on my site. What does that mean? Well, it means that you can kind of see how many people are landing on your site. And not just that, but I can see that there was a user, for example, on September 9th, based in Denmark using Safari, that landed on my blog post, how Arc browser has supercharged my productivity. And I can kind of see how they're behaving. Take a look at this. I can see that, hey, let me mute this. Why is this? Hopefully you can't hear me anymore. Okay. Anyways, you can kind of see how, first things first, you can see the PushEngage notification here to let people subscribe to my browser notifications show up, which is kind of really cool. But if I click play, you can kind of just see how they're reading the post, they're sort of moving their cursor, and I think they're actually watching my warm welcome video, which I'll talk to you about in a second. And now it appears like they left the site. Yeah, they essentially left the site. So they took a quick peek at the blog post and they essentially left. Could have been better, but let's take a look at this one. For example, we had someone in Bangladesh read my post about how I use xCloud. And yeah, you can kind of see how they're scrolling up and down. What is xCloud? Blah, 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 how I use it. So you hopefully get the gist, right? How it's really insightful to just be able to see how users are behaving on my site. I can see how they're scrolling, I can see what they're reading, and I can see, what made them want to leave my blog as well. So I don't know, it's just free insights that I absolutely love. And believe it or not, I've actually discovered so many broken things on my site just because I was looking at how people were behaving on my site, and all of a sudden I see that they try to click on something and that something doesn't trigger anything, right? I've got a dead link or a dead button that doesn't do anything, and I get a lot of insights from that. Duplicator Pro, this is important, okay? So usually if you're looking to build on WordPress, you're probably looking to do daily backups, or at the very least weekly backups of your site, right? If you get hacked, you're going to want to restore your site to a previous date back in time when your site wasn't hacked, or if you make a mistake, or if you simply want to go back in time because you've made changes to your site and you're not happy with them, it's important to have a backup of your site. And Duplicator Pro allows you to do that really easily. Again, I have a video on our channel, just type Thrive Themes Duplicator Pro and it's going to show up for you, where I walk you through how to actually set up Duplicator Pro on your site. But essentially, I think I've got weekly backups enabled. And again, it's important. If you want to be able to restore a previous version of your site, that is what Duplicator Pro is for. I want to talk about Workfence. Workfence is one that I almost always install. I keep saying almost always, but the truth is I always install Workfence on my site for one main reason, which is that when the free version of Workfence is actually going to give you one of the most important features that Workfence has to offer, which is two-factor authorization. So one of the, I've been building sites for WordPress clients for about 10 years or so. Not anymore, I'm no longer in that business, but I did used to do that for a long time. And one of the main reasons why a lot of my customers would come to me saying, hey Tony, my site got hacked, was because of compromised passwords. If you have Workfence installed on your site, even if it's just the free version again, you don't have to worry about those things anymore, because you can just turn on two-factor authorization. And even if you have someone figure out what your password is, they are not going to be able to access your site without your phone, because you're going to use something called Google Authenticator that has, that two-factor authorization code, which by the way resets every 25 seconds or so. And it doesn't matter if your password gets compromised. Be sure to change it if you do figure out that it is compromised. But at the very least, your site is going to be almost always fully protected because they're not going to have your phone, which is important. So it's just a very easy and free way of ensuring that your site is safe and secure. Code snippets, I don't usually install that on all of my sites, but code snippets, if you're looking to do some custom CSS, or if you need to trigger a JavaScript snippet on a given site, specifically, on a given page of your site, then code snippets does a really good job of allowing you to do that, right? I mean, you can just create a new snippet, insert it either in the header or the footer of your entire theme, or again, of a specific page. And I've been able to do some really fancy parallax animations and stuff like that using custom CSS and Thrive Architect. Again, using custom JavaScript as well that I would trigger specifically on given pages. Let me know if you want a tutorial on that in the comment section. And I think that is, I gotta talk about Bunny. So Bunny, and oh my god, I was leaving the speed the speed side of things of my entire site, which is let's actually talk about WP Rocket first. So WP Rocket is my caching service of choice. I've done many videos on WP Rocket and how I use it. It plays almost always really well with Thrive Suite. I almost never have any problems with it anymore. In the past, I would have to be very careful about, whether I would be optimizing CSS or minifying CSS and JavaScript. I almost always am capable of enabling all of these options, and it doesn't mess with my Thrive Theme Builder theme or anything like that. It doesn't break anything. The cool thing about WP Rocket though is that, number one, yes, it's gonna make your pages super fast, okay? Caching works, and you can just test it out for yourself. Sign up for WP Rocket, enable your, all of these file optimization options, and you will see that not only is your site faster, you will get better results when you run your Google PageSpeed Insights report. Now, with that said, just the cool thing about WP Rocket is that even if you're not using Thrive Suite and you're not using Thrive Theme Builder, or your pages are not built with Thrive Architect, let's just assume that you're using a different WordPress theme and you're building your pages with a different page builder. Cool thing is that if something breaks, you can always just deactivate any of the options that you've been activated. And if you notice that something breaks, again, just deactivate those options and your site will go back to normal. So that's kind of really cool. It's not like, oh my god, if I break something, I'm doomed and my site is just, it's going to be a pain to fix it. No, just deactivate that option and you'll be good to go. I have ShortPixel. If I jump over into settings here, got ShortPixel installed on my site as well. This is probably, if not the first plugin that I always install on my site, it's definitely in the first 5 because it just compresses all of the images that I'm uploading to my WordPress media library. It makes them much lighter without without sacrificing any of the quality. Makes my life a whole lot easier because I don't have to be, there is a process, and again, I'm sorry to be pointing you to so many different videos, but I do have a video on our channel where I walk you through the process in which I treat images for my site, whereby I first make sure that in Pixelmator or Photoshop or whatever image editing tool that you use on your computer, I first make sure that I bring them down in size. I then run them through ShortPixel, and since ShortPixel is installed as a plugin on my site, I don't even have to do that. I can just make sure that I treat the image in Pixelmator first and then just upload it to my WordPress media library, and ShortPixel does all of the work in the back end, and I can just count that it's going to be very light in weight and that it's still going to look good on my site. So that takes care of speed, right? Got WP Rocket for caching, ShortPixel for image optimization. Images are the heaviest things that you're going to be putting on your site most likely, so you want to make sure you're optimizing those. And then we've got Bunny. So Bunny is my content delivery network of choice. It is incredible how fast it makes my site and how cheap it is. It really is. With Bunny, you're essentially paying on a visitor per visitor basis, but you're essentially only paying for how many times is your site served to a user worldwide, okay? which means that if you got a site like my blog, for example, where in the last 30 days, I've only had 46 people onto my site, I might have paid 2 cents for serving my site through a content delivery network like Bunny. So those 46 users that landed on my site enjoyed an amazing user experience because they didn't have to wait a whole lot of time for my pages to load, and it barely costed me any money. So it's a great deal. It's a win-win for both me and Bunny. So yeah, it's one that I always install on all of my sites. And I think, guys, that is pretty much everything that I wanted to cover in this video. Talked about Clarity, talked about ShortPixel, Sitekit, Thrive Suite, of course. All right, let me wrap up with one that I think I haven't talked about yet on our channel, which is View Transitions. This is a free plugin that I can't remember who created this plugin, but essentially it creates transitions for your pages, which means that if I go to my blog and I try to visit the contact page, for example, you're going to see that instead of having, and this might not actually be, but well, did you see the transition that happened in between pages? It's even more noticeable when you have your pages cached in your browser. I think I might have cleared my cache, which is not making it as noticeable. But if I go to my homepage again, and it's not cached. Okay, so let me actually go to my homepage. You can kind of see the transition that it's creating, right, for my pages. But if I now go to my contact page, and it's still not working as well as I should, but it essentially, instead of creating a hard refresh of your site every single time you go back and forth in between your pages, it adds a transition, which makes it look more of like it makes your site feel more of like a SaaS solution and not so much like a traditional website, if you will. When your site is blazingly fast, it's even more noticeable, and for some reason it's just my site is taking a little longer to load than usual. Oh, I wanted to talk about warm welcome. This is something that people always ask me about. What is this lower third icon that I have here where you can actually see me talking, right? If I click on it, you can actually see that there's a video, and it gives people the opportunity to either reply back to the video with a video that they can just record with their phones, or they can leave an audio message, or they can even just type out a message, and then I get an email when someone does that. So that is a tool called Warm Welcome. I think it's warmwelcome.com if I'm not mistaken. Works really well. People seem to love it. I get a lot of questions about it, and that's that in case you want to check it out. Before you leave, I do want to tell you something that I always preach about with our clients, which is that building on WordPress isn't about having more tools, stuffed on your site. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It's about having the right tools working seamlessly together. I do consider myself to be a minimalist by heart. I try to do the most amount of things with the least amount of tools as possible. It's a principle that has served me well over many years. Let me know if there's an non-negotiable plugin that you love using that wasn't included in my list. I truly appreciate your time. There's information about Thrive themes that you can learn about in the linked in the description box below. And truly appreciate your time. Thanks again. Bye.